Clara didn't return home right away. She stood at the mouth of the hidden chamber beneath the lighthouse, watching the beam of her flashlight flicker against damp stone walls. The small wooden box was back on its pedestal, the ring tucked inside, the letter folded and in her pocket. She had taken nothing, but her mind churned with all she had gained. She needed time to think. To breathe. So she took the long way home. The cliffs above the sea were empty this time of day, save for gulls wheeling in the wind. Clara parked the car and walked to the edge, the wind catching in her hair. The surf roared below, the sound like something ancient trying to be heard. She sat on a flat rock and pulled out the letter again. The next piece lies where water runs backward. The phrase itched at her thoughts. It was riddle-like, but not poetic. Literal. Meant to be followed. Where did water run backward? Tidipools. Underground rivers. A spring. Then she remembered the old mill. Mill Creek had once powered a small grain mill decades ago. The building was mostly collapsed, overrun by vines, but the water still rushed past, diverted slightly uphill before curving back into the marsh. She hadn't been there in years. The next morning, Clara packed a satchel, water, snacks, her compass, a notepad, and the wooden ring. Something told her it would matter later. She reached the mill site just past noon. The creek murmured beside her. The old will lay half submerged, rotted and worn. Clara circled the ruins, scanning for anything out of place. Behind the mill's remains, where the land dipped, she spotted it. A small pool where the water seemed to circle itself, spiraling inward. The current ran counter to the rest of the stream. She knelt beside it. Her fingers brushed the surface. Cold. Too cold. She leaned closer. A shimmer of metal beneath the surface. Clara plunged her hand into the pool. Her fingers closed around something. A key. Back at home, she dried the key and examined it under a lamp. Old brass. Ornate handle. No markings. She opened her notebook and began cross-referencing everything, the map from the attic, the letter from Jay, the new key. Everything pointed back to the idea of a second chamber. But where? She returned to the lighthouse that evening. The sun had begun to dip, casting red-gold shadows across the sea. She descended into the underground room again, feeling the weight of stone and silence settle around her like a second skin. Clara inspected every wall. Every shelf. Then she saw it. In the far corner, behind a loose stack of books, was a second door. Not wood. Iron. A keyhole. The new key fit. The door groaned open. Beyond it, a descending spiral staircase. Carved stone. Moist air. At the bottom, another room. Circular. Walls lined with carvings. Ancient symbols. At the center, a shallow pool. She stepped forward. The air shifted. A light glowed from beneath the water. Not a reflection, an actual glow. Clara crouched beside the pool. Floating on the surface, another envelope. She lifted it with trembling hands. Inside, "You've come farther than most. This is not the end, but the crossing. What was taken must be returned. The ring is the seal. Place it where the light meets stone. You will be seen. And you will not be alone." Clara sat back, stunned. Her fingers clutched the ring in her pocket. The seal. She looked around. Light met stone where a thin shaft of moonlight broke through a crack in the ceiling, striking one section of the far wall. She crossed the room. There, carved into the stone, was a small depression. Just wide enough for the ring. Clara took a deep breath. And placed it in. The ground rumbled. Stone slid aside. And beyond it, a man. Standing. Bound. Alive. Eyes met hers. Shock. Hope. Recognition. He whispered, "Clara." Her breath caught. She stepped forward. "Alan." He collapsed into her arms.